Welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. Now, today we're going to have a quick update over Cobalt, and then I'm going to address some comments that I have received from one person. Now, Cobalt Sovereign, the 17-year-old trans girl who was attacked and punched at school in Minnetonka, Minnesota, of course, ended up with a broken jaw, shattered teeth, as well as a concussion. I have read since then that they are concerned about a possible traumatic brain injury. That time will have to see if that's the case. But, severe traumatic situations, especially ones that leave you with concussion, can very often can often be found to have caused brain injury. Hopefully that is not the case for Cobalt. Because I remember a YouTuber I used to watch a long time ago, they had this problem. They fell in while they were doing a video or whatever, and they ended up with a concussion, and later found out they had a TBI. And so it's always possible things can surface later. But Cobalt apparently is doing okay. They are healing. After the situation, or after the after they got punched in the face and broke their jaw in two places, they had to have surgery. They had, I believe it was 2 titanium plates put in to repair the jaw. They still have multiple surgeries to go, possibly ahead of them, and some more treatment to deal with the things that they've gone through. But they seem to be in good spirits from the interview that I saw, and they seem to be doing okay. That said, things like this should never happen to any child, let alone, it shouldn't happen to anybody, let alone a child, and definitely shouldn't be happening just because you're trans or gay or whatever. Luckily, though, the student who perpetrated the attack was immediately suspended from the school. And the police have said since then that, and I've seen it since my video came out, the police said they have seen the video. They know what happened, and they are investigating to find out if it's a hate crime or not. Now, I think that's going to be difficult for them to prove. I think it's going to be hard for them to prove that it was a hate crime, because there's not going to be any audio in the bathroom where, according to Cobalt, they were in the restroom and a student peered over the top of I believe they said the top of the stall. I do not remember for sure if it was under or if they peered over, and then used the F slur at them. And then when they left the bathroom, of course, they punched Cobalt in the face. That's what we have, right? And since the calling them the F slur took place in the bathroom where there's probably no audio or video, it is very likely that the police won't be able to say this person committed, a hate crime. But I will commend the police in Minnetonka for doing their job, for actually taking it seriously, when it didn't seem, at least at first, that the school was very caring about what happened. They didn't even call the police, immediately. And the police feel like they should have been notified. Even though it was at the close of school, the school was, school day was ending. The police still should have been called and still should have been there. An ambulance should have been dispatched. But the school did none of that. So we'll find out more about that going down the road. Now, I've read that the school, that Hopkins High School there, is it's definitely an inclusive high school that generally is okay with trans people. There's even gender neutral bathrooms. But from what I read and things I've seen from other people that are like student or have been students there, the the gender neutral bathrooms are very often full or they're too far away, and so you end up using whatever bathroom you have to. Now, I saw comments, not necessarily in my comments, but on other people's videos and over on Twitter, where they're like, well, they shouldn't have been in the girls' room. They weren't in the girls' room. Cobalt doesn't, according to the Cobalt, she doesn't use the girls' room, at least very often. Typically, they use the men's room. Why? The reason is they said they'd rather themselves be uncomfortable than the girls be uncomfortable in the women's room. And if you ask me, that's respectful. Right? And I completely understand where Cobalt was coming from. Now, here in Oklahoma, I don't tend to go out in public that often. But when I do, I typically use the men's room because I don't want any problems, right? Although it can be very weird being in the men's room and, wearing a skirt. It's kind of weird sometimes. If someone comes in, right? But you do what you have to. But Cobalt was using the boys' room, trying to cut down on unnecessary problems, and they got beat up for it. Is this not what you people on the right want? Is that not what the people on the right want? They want the trans people to use the restroom of the bathroom of the gender they were assigned at birth, right? That's what y'all want, right? Well, this is one of the reasons why people are so terrified of all these laws that are being written and passed in many states. It's why trans people are so terrified of the rhetoric that the far right is pushing. Trans people are not a threat to you. You hear me, Ray Crawford? Yeah, you. We are not a threat to you or society. Nobody is pushing some crazy, insane narrative that you think they're pushing. Your comments. Yeah, they are what they are, right? A bigot talking. It's same shit, different day. Let me be very clear to you. I will not change the way I cover stories. I don't care that you think I shouldn't report quickly on things. I don't care if you want to sit there and insult my Next Benedict coverage. I don't care what you think. But you can leave my page. You're not wanted on this channel. And when I made my Next Benedict video, there weren't many people out there reporting it. In fact, I found 2 news stories before I made that new video, or the first video on Next Benedict. I checked on YouTube, maybe 4 or 5 videos tops. And in print, guess what? 1 or 2 publications, like I said. There's a lesbian group out of Pittsburgh that reported on it. And I saw 1 news story from the local news about a student who had been beaten up in a school restroom. So I'm pretty aware of when I made my video and what information was out at the time, and the updates I made since. But the next situation is not the same as this situation. The information is out there for you to see. But the fact that you had the audacity to sit there in that comment to me and tell me that Nex was the bully, when the bullying of Nex Benedict was documented for over a year and a half. The parents had talked to the school. The school did nothing. And you want to tell me you want to tell me that Nex was the bully? Bullies don't usually take their own lives. That's usually something that happens from people that are bullied. So I'm not going to have you sitting here insulting the dead on my channel. I'm not going to put up with that kind of bullshit. You can think what you want. And you can sit there and feel like we think we're just so special or we're so entitled or whatever you want to think. The fact is, we are not offended when people don't agree with us. We're not offended when people don't like us. The problem that what we get offended by is when people keep trying to steal our rights. And people keep acting like we shouldn't exist. Trans people have existed basically forever. And we're not going anywhere. And I know that may upset you and your one subscriber. I'm sure it does upset you and your one subscriber. But you know what? You don't matter. People with your hateful beliefs don't matter. You're a dying breed. And sooner or later, people are going to catch on. That you people don't care about anything but yourself. I really don't care. Nobody is offended just because you don't like us. What we get offended by, like I said, was because are people taking our rights away and people physically assaulting people in our community for no reason. I make videos here at the Big Ranch Show to give people facts and information. I have several people that comment on my videos that tell me thank you for making my videos. And guess what? I'll keep making my videos the way I see fit. And the way that the people that watch my videos have enjoyed watching since 2015. Am I a huge channel? No. Will I ever be huge? No. Do I care? No. And do I care what you have to say? No. You're pathetic. Now, I typically don't come out here, comment about comments in my comment section. But sometimes I feel that it's necessary. Especially when you're attacking a community of marginalized people. So, to Mr. Ray Crawford and your bullshit, get to stepping.